My name is Stephen Cooley with Mortgage Advisor Tools. I am here today with Steve Butler from True.ai, but really just True, right, Steve?
That's just true. Yeah, all caps though.
That's
Marketing
right. That's
term. You
right.
got to be all caps.
Excellent. How you doing today?
I'm good, Stephen. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. It's the year is starting to pick up a scotch as the spring, turns around. So very good. But I wanted to like first and foremost, I mean, I'm very familiar with your platform and what you guys do, but if you could just give everybody a breakdown of what True does and how you're serving the mortgage business.
Yeah. No, thanks for having us, by the way, on this podcast. Really excited about it. Uh, yeah, a little bit about my background. I mean, I've been in business process automation at the enterprise level for over 30 years. The last 10 years in mortgage tech. I'm actually an engineer by education, but I moved into executive level and sales and development over the last 30 years. So we're really focused here at True at solving what has been a really big problem for this industry, which is processing their documents and their data, right, to be able to then downstream push it into decisioning faster and faster. And it's a problem that has existed since the beginning and continues to really hurt this industry on a cost basis and a timing basis and borrower experience basis.
Understood. And AI is a massive part, obviously, of your platform. I mean, how do you see AI, impacting the mortgage industry, as it stands today?
Well, it's gonna, as you know, it's gonna affect every aspect of it. I mean, this industry, we all stumbled into it and we found that it's the most labor-intensive manufacturing process there probably is,
Yeah.
and it continues to be labor-driven. And that's a real problem, for the industry. So AI is going to affect it all, but it's going to be affecting it in different ways because AI that is only partially giving you the answer is still a burden on the user. The user has to review it and get it right and correct things and so forth. And obviously, there's tons of applications like that using ChatGPT, et cetera. That'll get better over time. But what you want to find in the place to go in the mortgage industry is find those highly intensive labor gaps that can be replaced with background AI that can take the task on fully, not partially. And that's the trick here going forward.
No, I'm with you. I mean, and I think there's a pretty big intimidation factor when as soon as you start saying AI that all businesses have to experience. I think even myself when I'm talking to the technology side of it, it's like people know less about this than I think we realize as technologists. But what do you think some of the misconceptions about AI are that people are struggling with outside of the fact that it is somewhat complicated?
Well, it's interesting, Stephen. They kind of go into the two ends of the spectrum. On one hand, a lot of C-level executives have been burnt over the years with their investments in technology, and so they're jaded a little bit, and they say, "Is this just the next shiny jewel?" And I go back to my comment earlier. They have a right to be jaded because when you buy in new tools, sometimes you end up having to have specialists just to learn that tool and manage it, right? And all of a sudden you got a bigger department instead of a smaller department.
Yeah.
And that has happened time and time again. And so they got these huge costs per loan for these tools that that are really not giving them a lift they wanted. So that's one misconception. The other is the other end of the spectrum that let's rip up everything we've done and let's replace it with a full AI powered implementation out of the box.
Right,
And so
right.
you end up with these boil the ocean kind of projects that never see the light of day because you never get to a value point. They get canceled a year later. The right place is to think the way manufacturers think. No manufacturer today that's building any kind of products, cars, whatever, rips it all out and puts something new in. They're looking for how to optimize fully a stage of manufacturing. So we're big believers in optimizing stages, but with background AI that isn't partial, AI that can take on that task fully. And I think that's the key to this whole way to move forward with an AI journey.
And I mean, and the truth of it is like, your software and your platform is driven by AI, but they're really looking for is the product and the solution that it provides more than anything, right? I mean, that is that, and that automation and that augmentation of this process is what's really imperative to them. The AI part is, oh, I don't know. I'm not, do you think it's relevant even to mention?
Well, it's interesting. Well, it's only relevant in the fact if you look under the it's like an iceberg. If you look under the water, the
Yeah.
amount of AI that we got at work, we have multiple models, that are orthogonal, that a lot most of in fact all of our competitors use offshore, you know, India, nearshore, to basically review and correct the data, right? That's what they do. They do it all day long. That's their business model. BPOs, that's what they do it. We're the only vendor that basically uses all these different AI models to figure it out right the first time, being machine only. So under the hood is all of that great technology. I mean, the whole MI industry is using True because of the fact that they need to write insurance and they got to turn it around in minutes, not hours like it used to be. So with True, it's now minutes. So our technology is so credible that they've bought into that. We have many, many large lenders and correspondents and services as well, but that's the proof. And so, but you're absolutely right, Stephen. Your original question is the customer just wants it to work.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
want it to work. And
Yeah.
what I'm telling you, it's going to work if you put it in its right place. If you take it and make it a background worker, not one in which you have to then take 80% of the result is right now. I got to look at the last 20%. No, you want 99%. And that's what True delivers, 99% or better.
Wow. So I want to touch on something you said. You said that MI industry uses you. I mean, um, would you say that those accuracies, that's your major market differentiator?
Yeah, yeah, it's no question about it. I mean, chances are we've seen all the lender loans in this country already because it's flowing
Okay.
through the MI industry, right? Most of the, some percentage of those, a large percentage get insurance, right? So
Yeah.
those loans get processed and they get processed by True. So chances are we've seen it. But our big differentiator is the fact that we can, with machines only, you don't have to hire labor. I mean, if all of a sudden you have 20% more loan volume, you're just using a machine to scale up to that level. You're not having to hire people or fire people in downtime.
Hmm.
So the fact that we get you those accuracies machines only is our biggest differentiator and why we're replacing a lot of these older legacy solutions that are human driven, offshore human driven.
It's incredible. Anything coming up? Big announcements, new rollouts, new features, products?
Yes, we are absolutely going to be delivering some. So the next natural step beyond docs and data, right? Which is, I want to be able to index automatically. I want to be able to extract automatically. I want to populate the URL automatically. Those kind of things, which is what we do all day long. The next thing is decisioning, right? Income analysis, right? Asset analysis, pre-qual analysis, those things. Those announcements will be happening in the second half of this year. So now you'll have a suite of solutions that are fully interoperable, all based on that one level of what we call trusted data. You can get trusted data as fast as possible. And really you get trusted data, in minutes, what is taking hours today from True, and then you drive your decisioning much quicker. So those announcements will happen mid-year, Q3.
Very cool. Well, awesome, man. Well, no, I really appreciate you guys supporting Mortgage Advisor Tools. It's been really interesting chatting with you today. And man, yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Uh,
Stephen, a great discussion. And again, I'd love to be on again.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, everybody check out True at Mortgage Advisor Tools. That's Steve Butler. Thank you, everybody.